You'd think a musical with only one good song in it would be brutally difficult to watch. But it turns out that Grease 2, directed by Patricia Birch, is quite watchable in a way. I mean, it's not particularly good. Yeah, just letting the cat out of the bag early here, but it's not awful. In fact, it's very watchable. It's funny, either intentionally or unintentionally, and it can be quite fun at times. It's just the characters are just lame, or at least lamer, and apart from maybe the two leads, all the other characters, and maybe Christopher McDonald, all the other actors in this movie kind of look kind of generic and forgettable. Unless they came from the first Grease movie, then of course, everyone remembers them. Having said that, though, Maxwell Caulfield, he is Sandy's cousin. He comes from England. He goes to school at Rydell. Instantly falls in love with Michelle Pfeiffer and follows her around like some weird stalker dude and just instantly wants to marry her. And she pretty much tells him in the only good song in this movie, I want a cool rider and you lame, so fuck off. And so the rest of the movie has all these characters doing their antics and shenanigans while he goes off to get money for a motorcycle, which he does by doing other people's homework. I hope they rewrote that, by the way. Listen, I don't condone doing people's homework for them for money, but if I was to do that, I, even if it was back in the 50s or early 60s where you can't really use a keyboard or you may not have access to a typewriter, you'd write the whole thing out and then you'd be like, hey, just remember, write this out again, but like in your own handwriting and maybe in your own way a little bit, because I'm writing these for everyone. I don't know why I'm dwelling on this too much. The thing is, he becomes cool when he becomes this mysterious bike rider, and everyone's like, "Oh, who is that? Who is that? This guy looks really cool." And unfortunately, it's the guy who sings all of the uncoolest and lamest songs in the whole movie, like this charade song, or he only has little bits and pieces of other songs. He doesn't sing that much, and he's not that great. In fact, he sings a song about having a broken heart because like he doesn't think he's going to get Michelle Pfeiffer, and I'm like, you're just making Michelle Pfeiffer's point for her. A cool writer would never sing anything like this. Get out of here. So none of the T-Birds are very memorable. They try to make them memorable, except for Christopher McDonald, who I just kept referring to as Shooter. I'm like, maybe he should have been the main guy because he had more charisma, he was more interesting, he was funnier. But I will say, apart from maybe Maxwell Caulfield's Carrington, movie surprisingly decently acted. Like, I think a lot of people went into this expecting it to be a hit, and a lot of people went into this going, yeah, oh my god, we're in the sequel to Grease, let's fucking rock. And instead, you've got a movie that barely rocks, and a story that is held together just because of the sheer fun of the performances a lot of the time and the goofiness of everything. But it loses steam, it really does. It loses steam pretty much around the time of the talent show, which is near the end anyway. Then it cuts awkwardly to some weird luau for some reason, and it's all this kind of singing and dancing and all this other bullshit. And then Michelle Pfeiffer and boring dude end up together. Apparently, she likes that he's also a nerd and a bike rider, but she wasn't interested in him when she was a nerd. But she says, now I've got the best of both worlds, but you don't like one of those worlds. So you only like the other world. Why would you? It's probably the English accent, I don't know. You could also tell that Grease 2 wasn't a stage show. I mean, it might be now, but you can tell this wasn't based on a musical because it doesn't feel like there are many songs in it. And when there are, they're not all that great. Whereas I hate making comparisons to Grease because I'm not even a huge Grease fan, but all the songs in Grease feels like it was adapted from a musical, and it kind of works. So I was kind of drunk when I watched this with my wife. She was nice enough to go through this with me, and we had a blast. We had a good old fun time. We really liked the Cool Rider song from the opening riff all the way through. It was the only song that really caught our attention. I mean, she liked the reproduction song too, but I thought that was complete garbage. And that's the thing. I, I can't really remember too many movies off the top of my head where some of it I'm having a ball, it's fun, it's amusing, it's different, and I'm having a chuckle while I'm watching it. And then other parts of it, I'm like, whoa, this is complete stank garbage. But through it all, whether you're watching parts that are good and parts that are incredibly lame, the movie has a fun factor. So just for anyone who's worried that I'm going to give this an amazing score or something, just relax, will you? Just breathe. And anyone fearing I was going to give it a bad score, what I would say is this is a movie that's worth watching with a few drinks, maybe a little something else, and you just sit in front of the telly and just have a good old chuckle and giggle because it's a lot of fun. It would be, you know, one of those movies you watch because it's so bad it's good with a group of people. This movie fits that perfectly, at least for me. Now, if you legitimately like it, fair enough. You can't quite see why you would. But if you absolutely find this movie abhorrent, I don't know, man. It's not that bad. It's not that great either. But it's an hour and 54 minutes. The time kind of flew by. I didn't get bored. I mean, apart from any time Maxwell Caulfield was on screen, which isn't as much as you think. Mostly focuses on the Pink Ladies, the T-Birds, and Michelle Pfeiffer, which is good because you want to highlight your positives and phase out your negatives, I guess. So yeah, Grease 2. I mean, there's only one song in this whole movie that I ever think I'd care to listen to or hear again, and that's Cool Rider. All the other songs are completely forgettable, which it's not really good for your musical movie to just be a one-hit wonder, is it? Yeah. I mean, whether you like the original Grease or not, you know a few songs off that. You just do. And yeah, I think it's too iconic a movie to do a sequel to. But I have to say, props for trying. Anyway, like, dislike, share, and subscribe, all that crap. Yeah,